Hello and welcome to this Rayne Runners video on how important your sprinting speed is in your distance running. Hello, I'm Toby, and today I'm going to be talking about whether your sprinting speed is relevant to how fast you can run over distance. So to answer that, I'm going to start with my own case. Last time I timed myself on the track, I could run 100 metres in about 16 seconds. And that was a little while ago, and hopefully I'll be slightly faster now, but to be honest, it's not likely to be as fast as 15 seconds. So I'm going to start by comparing my 100 metre speed with some of the distance world records, starting with 800 metres. So if I could maintain my sprinting speed, so 16 seconds per 100 metres for 800 metres, I would run 800 metres in 2 minutes and 8 seconds. This compares with the world record of 1 minute 40 seconds 0.91, which is about 12.6 seconds per 100 metres. So obviously a massive difference. For the 1500 metres, I would set a time of 4 minutes exactly. This compares with the world record time of 3 minutes 26, which is about 13.7 seconds per 100 metres. For the 5,000 metres, I would set a time of 13 minutes and 20 seconds. This compares with the world record of 12 minutes 37.35, or about 15.2 seconds per 100 metres. For the 10,000 metres, I would set a time of 26 minutes and 40 seconds. This compares with the world record of 26 minutes 17.53, which is about 15.8 seconds per 100 metres. For the half marathon, I would set a time of 56 minutes and 16 seconds. This compares with the world record of 58 minutes and 1 second, or 16.5 seconds per 100 metres. For the full marathon, I would run a time of 1 hour, 52 minutes and 31 seconds. This compares with the official world record of 2 hours, 1 minute and 39 seconds, although Eliud Kipchoge did do an unofficial sub 2 hour marathon in 1 hour, 59 minutes and 40 seconds, which is about 17 seconds per 100 metres. So that is to say that at my sprinting speed, it would take all the way up to the half marathon to find a distance that I could set a world record at. And obviously no one can maintain their sprinting speed for very long at all. So it goes to show that to compete at the world level, you do need a decent amount of sprinting speed, certainly a lot faster than me anyway. And before you say anything, obviously your average speed over 100 metres isn't quite your absolute top speed because of the standing start. And even over 100 metres, most people will start fading towards the end. But it's still a useful figure to work off. And it's still a hard sprint anyway, even if it isn't your absolute top speed. But anyway, the point is I could have the best endurance fitness in the world, but it still wouldn't help me compete with the best distance runners unless I could improve my outright top speed as well. Now obviously these world record times aren't exactly relevant to me, or indeed most runners. Obviously they're not my main targets. But the bigger question is whether improving your top speed will help you improve your own times. To be able to run a distance race at a certain average speed, your top speed has to be a decent amount faster than that, because no one can maintain their top speed for very long. So someone with a 100 metre time of 12.6 seconds still wouldn't be able to get anywhere near the 800 metre world record. As I said earlier, running at 16 seconds per 100 metres will get me a time of 2 minutes and 8 seconds for the 800 metres. But that's not just not world class. You can go to any club and you will find runners that can run faster than 2 minutes 8 for 800 metres. So yes, I would say that my sprint speed puts a dent in my ambitions of even a club 800 metre career. And though the effect will obviously get less and less over longer distances, there isn't necessarily going to be a sudden cut-off point where it becomes completely irrelevant. But as a parkrun obsessive, I'm most interested in the effect my sprint speed, or lack of it, would have on my 5k time. And 5k is obviously not the longest of distances, so it does seem likely that my lack of speed is going to have some effect on my times. Let's watch this video of superstars that I've borrowed from elsewhere. Several sports stars are taking part in a 100 metre race. Now the athletes I want you to pay attention to are Mo Farah, the multiple Olympic and world champion over 5 and 10,000 metres, and also the Brownlee brothers, Alistair and Jonathan, stars of the triathlon world. Alistair is a double Olympic champion and Jonathan has won world championships.
Here is the lineup for the 100 metres. Andy Triggs-Hodge right on the inside, then Michael Jamieson, Alistair Brownlee, Mo Farah, Jonathan Brownlee, Anthony Joshua, Robbie Gravarts, and finally Peter Wilson. All of our superstars have obviously got to take part in this event. And they're going to be sent on their way by the #1 track and field starter in the world, Alan Bell. Little twitch on the blocks there by Robbie Gravarts. He gets away well though. The Olympic bronze medalist in the high jump is flying. But look at Anthony Joshua coming through. His long legs bringing in victory. Anthony Joshua, Robbie Gravarts, then Mo Farah. Oh wow, and poor old Andy Triggs-Hodge there, way back in 8th place. But delight for the big man. 10 big points in the first event. All eyes at this moment were on Mo Farah, 5 and 10,000 metre gold medalist. But all the action was happening nearer the main stand where Anthony Joshua just nipped ahead of Robbie Gravarts to take it. Good victory and smiles all round for our Olympic super heavyweight boxer. There's the result. Anthony Joshua wins it 11.53. Robbie Gravarts in 2nd place. Mo Farah in 3rd. And poor old Andy Triggs-Hodge there, way down in 8th place.
Okay, so note the times there. Mo Farah 12.98 seconds, Jonathan Brownlee 14.33 seconds, and Alistair Brownlee 14.70 seconds. Obviously, congratulations to Anthony Joshua and Robbie Gravarts, who set brilliant times, but they're not who we're interested in here. There has been some speculation that some of the runners might not have been going flat out in case they got injured, or that the cold and wet conditions hindered them, or that during the off-season they might not have been at their physical peak anyway, so weren't at their maximum potential. So these times obviously do need to be taken with a pinch of salt. Well, actually there's plenty of evidence that at least Mo Farah would have been able to run faster than that. Apparently he's run about 51 seconds in the last lap, the last 400 metres of a 5,000 metre race. And that's faster than his time for 100 metres. Obviously in that 400 metres he would have had a running start. But basically no one can run faster over 400 metres than they can over 100 metres, even taking into account the standing start for 100 metres. And even if a very few number of people could, no one could if that 400 metres took place at the end of a 5,000 metre race where they were trying. Also, Mo's 100 metre time multiplied by 8 would be 1 minute 43.84 seconds, which would put him 485th on the all-time 800 metre list. And I know he's not exactly an 800 metre specialist, but he's the British 1,500 metre record holder, which is the next distance up from 800 metres. So yes, I'm pretty sure that 12.98 seconds doesn't represent Mo Farah's best form over 100 metres. I'd be pretty surprised if he couldn't at least get into the low 12s. It's difficult to get proper running data for the Brownlee brothers because they're primarily triathletes, but they do both have profiles on the Power of 10 website, which does give times that they have set over certain distances. Alistair has run 14 minutes 13 for 5,000 metres, but he has also run 28.32 for 10,000 metres, which is probably a better time and equivalent to sub 14 for the 5,000 metres. And Jonathan Brownlee has set a time of 14.01 for 5,000 metres, so they're both around 14 minutes for that distance. The Brownlee brothers got times of 14.33 and 14.70 for the 100 metres in the Superstars race. But given that Mo Farah's time is unlikely to be representative, the same will probably apply for the Brownlee brothers as well. The commentators themselves on the programme said that the conditions might have been worth about half a second, so you could probably just knock half a second off their times without even taking into account the form that the runners were in. So I would suggest that both Brownlee brothers could certainly break 14 seconds for the 100 metres at least. But if we look at Mo Farah's time of 12.98 seconds, it is actually quite close in seconds to his 5k PB in minutes. His 5,000 metre PB is 12 minutes 53.11 seconds, or about 12.9 minutes. But given that 12.98 seconds is likely to be an underestimate of his potential, I think we can safely say that Mo's 100 metre time in seconds would be faster than his 5,000 metre time in minutes. And the Brownlee brothers have both run around 14 minutes for 5k and could almost certainly break 14 seconds for 100 metres. And given that these are professional endurance athletes, I'm going to stick my neck out and say you're unlikely to find people with a faster 5k time in minutes than their representative 100 metre time in seconds. Now obviously there's no logical connection between the two, it's just a coincidence, but I think it makes a good rule of thumb. So once you reach that point, you'll probably struggle to improve your 5k time without improving your outright speed first. By the way, this is not to say that a 16-second 100 metre runner who can run 16 minutes for 5k is as fit as a 13-second 100 metre runner who can run 13 minutes for 5k. But the 16-second 100 metre runner will find that they can make quite big improvements to their aerobic fitness at that point, but only find small gains in their 5k time because their fitness is not the main limiting factor at that point. If they suddenly became a 13-second 100 metre runner, it would free them up to make more use of any aerobic gains that they made. You might think this is strange because in a distance race you're not sprinting, so your absolute sprinting pace shouldn't matter. Well, that's true to an extent. The real point is that you want to improve the speed you can run at without it being a sprint. But that's sort of quite a vague concept. There isn't an exact dividing line between sprinting and not sprinting. So the speed you can run at without it being a sprint isn't very well defined. So it makes sense to use your 100 metre time as a measurable statistic that would correlate quite strongly with what we want. And it's interesting to note, for example, how relaxed Eliud Kipchoge looks when he's running 17 seconds per 100 metres in a marathon. This isn't just a sign of his endurance fitness. To be able to run at that speed in a relaxed manner for any distance at all, you have to have good outright speed. But if we say that your 100 metre time in seconds is pretty much the absolute limit for your 5k time in minutes, it's likely that your sprinting speed, or lack of it, will be somewhat a limiting factor before that. So to take my own example again, I can run 100 metres in about 16 seconds and my 5k time is just outside 18 minutes. So there's about a difference of 2 there. Now I apologise for being a bit unscientific, but I do feel that even at this point my sprinting speed is a limiting factor for me. I feel like I'm going out harder than I think it should feel even at the start of a 5k to maintain my average pace. And also I do think that I struggle in interval sessions when running with other people who are actually slower than me over longer distances. Whereas when I was running more like 19 and certainly 20 minutes of 5k, my endurance fitness was certainly the bigger concern. So I'm going to say as a rule of thumb that if your 100 metre time in seconds isn't at least 2, or possibly even 2.5 or 3, but certainly at least 2 less than your 5k time in minutes, then it's time to work on your sprinting speed. Obviously it might make more sense to talk about ratios than absolute numbers, but I think with high numbers it becomes less relevant anyway. I don't think many people running over 20 minutes of 5k are limited by their sprinting speed, for example. Plus, this is very approximate anyway, so I don't think it's worth getting the calculator out for. So anyway, for me the difference is about 2, and at that point I definitely think it's worth working on my outright speed. So by speed work, I don't mean your usual intervals where you're pushing yourself to your aerobic limit, having a short rest and going again. I mean short, hard sprints where you'd give yourself a full recovery in between and then going again. This is to improve strength and speed, not your aerobic fitness. Obviously you'd be doing those exercises as well, but they would be separate from your speed training. It would also make sense to do non-running strength exercises to improve your strength and power. I won't give any specific examples here, but if I manage to improve my own speed by doing some exercises, I'll get back to you and let you know exactly what I've done to improve my speed. Okay, so that's about it from me today. But don't forget to do all the usual things, like, share, subscribe, follow us on Instagram and on Facebook, and remember to add Rayne Runners as your club on parkrun. We could do with the extra support. Thank you very much.